Hello, teachers. Hello, a very warm welcome to everyone. Today we are here for another TT Live session. As you know, TT's Live is a training session that happens every week at the same time here on the YouTube channel. And every week we have a different topic. A very warm welcome. I'm waiting for a few more people to arrive. It's so good to see you all here. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to another TT Live session. TT's Live is this training that takes place every week here on the YouTube channel with different topics. So I already invite you to join next week's live session, where I will be here once again to help to bring new ideas, new insights, and news from the world of education, and how we can use artificial intelligence in an ethical, didactic, and responsible way in the classroom, as well as for lesson planning and all the tasks of a teacher. A very warm welcome to everyone. We will start another live session in just a few moments. And if you have any questions, just write your question here in the chat and I will be answering you. If you want to share any ideas, if you're enjoying the live session, you can use the chat down below or right here on the side on YouTube to comment and bring your questions about TT or about our live session, about our methodology as well. We're here to help you. Now, I would just like to share a few helpful tips, some important updates, and a couple of quick announcements before we actually get started with our live session today. First of all, please feel free to put any questions you might have into the chat box below. So whenever you have any questions, you can use the chat here during the live to post your questions. Besides that, in this live session, you will receive a certificate. And this certificate is very important because you can add it to your resume, you can update your resume with it, and you can show it to your school's administration, demonstrating that you are up to date with the latest developments in the digital, technological, and educational world. This certificate is also very important for updating your social media, so post on LinkedIn or Instagram that you are participating in trainings and always looking to improve. Because it's not easy, right, teacher? We have a lot of classes, we have many students, and at the same time, we need to find ways to always stay up to date. So just by being here in this live session, participating in this live, it already means a lot. It means that you want to learn, that you are here precisely seeking the best for your students. And that is very beautiful, teacher. Really very beautiful. So welcome. As you know, the theme of this live is artificial intelligence for teachers from scratch, from the very beginning. How to transform your classes in 2026. And for this live, I would like you to write in the chat which tools you would like to learn about. And how can I answer your questions during this live? All right? So we will begin in a few moments. Teachers, just a reminder that in this live, I will be using an artificial intelligence tool that was created specifically for teachers. In other words, this AI tool was designed by teachers and for teachers. The materials inside it are reviewed by teachers. There's a whole training focused on education. So if your school has a specific curriculum, if you follow your country's curriculum or even your regions, you can rest assured because with this artificial intelligence, you have all your materials, all your lesson plans aligned with the curriculum and also with all the needs your students require. In addition, you can create accessible lessons, thus moving into the personalization of each of your students' learning paths, which is really amazing. So if you want to actively participate in this live session, open pitch.ai in your browser. And come along with me so we can work together on this tool today, okay? So I'll give you a few minutes to access this tool. First, go ahead and open up your web browser and then search for the website teach.ai. You should be able to find it quite easily. This is exactly how you can access the Teach platform. So I am going to give you a few minutes now so that you can successfully log into your Teach account. Meanwhile, I'll also log in to Teach, and if you have any questions, you can put them here in the chat. Okay? I'll be answering them. Okay? So if you want to participate actively, go to teach.ai. Okay? And now let's start our live session in an active way. I'm going to share my screen and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm doing here on Teach. Okay? Now you can see my screen here. And when you enter TET, the first thing you'll see is exactly this, okay? So as you can see here, we already have some artificial intelligence tools, the ones that are most used. Some of these tools I use every day. And you must be wondering, right? I also saw that there are a lot of questions about TIT in the comments. Yes, it's paid. But Profestit can be used completely for free. If you click on this little yellow button up here, see? Where it says plus 100 and has a lightning bolt symbol, you'll get exactly 100 credits and you can claim these credits every day. So looking down here on Monday, I forgot to claim my credits, but I usually do. That's why I have so many credits. Tuesday today, I claimed my credits. Tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, I'll also claim 100 credits each day. And on Saturday, I'll get 200 credits. And that's a really cool thing. Why? Each tool uses about 100 to 200 credits. In other words, if you have a lot of students like I do, it's always a good idea to log into TIT every day and claim your credits so you can use them as soon as you need them. And for all the teachers out there, let's just say that you happen to have a very large number of students or perhaps a lot of different classes to teach in many various groups. You should know that TIT also offers a comprehensive paid plan option, and that is truly a really great and helpful feature for your workflow. At the end of this live stream, I'm going to talk a little more about the paid plans, how you can use TIT, and how you can even use TIT for free. So right here, you can see exactly how incredibly easy it is to either use TIT for free through your earned credits or to purchase one of TIT's various subscription plans. And as you can see, the entire process is very simple. Teachers with TIT's plans, you can create as many materials as you want. This is really great because if you have many classes, many subjects, or you teach different subjects at different schools and need a large amount of materials, you have this option available, okay? So teachers, the theme of our live today is exactly this: artificial intelligence from scratch for teachers. Let's start then with the most basic level. What would be the most basic level when it comes to artificial intelligence? First of all, it's about understanding it. So the artificial intelligence we're using today, do you remember I mentioned that it's an AI trained in a didactic way made for teachers? So every artificial intelligence must be trained. And in this sense, TIT was trained by specialists, by people in the technology field to always provide an answer, providing a response that is didactic, an answer that will offer genuine assistance to the instructor, and an answer that connects with the student's level of education, the stage of their learning journey, the academic semester they are in, and the level of the subject matter itself. So teachers, if you use a tool that isn't specifically designed for teachers, maybe you want to create a lesson plan and you receive a lesson plan that doesn't follow your school's educational guidelines or your municipality's education standards. But if you use TIT, you'll get a lesson plan, for example, made exactly the way you need it. And another very interesting thing about this is that with TIT, you don't need to write prompts. And what are prompts? Prompts are exactly those texts that are used in artificial intelligences. For example, create a lesson plan doing this and that, and make it 5 pages long, divided into 2 subjects for 3 months of classes. You don't need to write all of that. Sometimes writing takes longer than actually what we would expect from artificial intelligence, which is supposed to help. And here at TIT, there are no prompts, folks. It's very simple. People call it promptless AI, meaning there's no writing required at all. Here it's much simpler. You choose your education level, subject, and provide some information. And the AI will already understand, oh, this is a teacher from the United States, this is a teacher from Italy. It's about being a teacher from a certain country and needing a lesson plan specific to those guidelines. So here everything is much easier. So since we're here, let's start with the basic level. And what would be the basic level of understanding AI? First of all, we already understand what AI is. We also know that AI is a large database, which will be fed with relevant and already existing information. We also know that AI doesn't think, so all the work we do here must be reviewed by you. It is reviewed by other teachers who work with TIT. And also, the teacher will always be the center here on this platform. In other words, the platform is here to help you. It has been proven that TIT can help you save up to 20 hours of class per week. And guys, 20 hours of class per week, that's a lot. I'm going to click here on the bot with the mouse in this section labeled as units on this left sidebar. And here I'm going to show you a bit of the materials that teachers are creating and some materials that are already made. And guys, just imagine 20 hours per week being saved by using an AI that was designed for teachers. And when we think about 20 hours, we might think it's class hours. But no, folks, these are hours we spend creating lesson plans, creating emergency sub-lesson plans, creating reports, making reports for teachers, for parents, for the administration, for students, assessing students, creating assessments, creating materials. So everyone, this right here, it's just a simple example of how an artificial intelligence created for teachers can be extremely useful, and it changes our lives, right? In 2026, it's going to change our lives. If you're not friends with AI yet, it's time for us to change that. So that's why you're here today. And that's why we're going to find out how we can use AI in the best way possible. So I clicked here on community. You saw some materials. I'm going to go back to this bar and click on home. Going back to the home page. I'm going to drink some water, but let me know if you have any questions in the comments. So far, so good, right, everyone? Well, let's get hands-on then. And when I say get hands-on, it's much simpler than it seems. So here we have some artificial intelligence tools. Down here are the materials I've already created, and I create a lot of material, guys. I love this tool. So here we have some materials. We have lesson plans, magic lessons, tests, a slide presentation, flashcards, crossword puzzles, mind maps. Guys, look at this. This isn't even 1% of everything that's inside this tool. If you're following along on your computer, right-click on the button for all the more than 60 tools. On this little button right here, look, more than 60 tools. I'm going to click it now. And as soon as I clicked, a lot of things popped up. Let's take a look. Guys, these here are just the basic tools. There are more than 60 tools. Guys, it's a lot. And there are tools for every type of subject. If you teach math, financial education, there's something for you. There are music lessons too. Grammar, there's a lot, folks. Here on the left sidebar, we can see all the tools separated by topic, that is planning. Here we have all the tools focused on lesson planning, okay? Lesson preparation. Here we have the lesson preparation tools, and this ranges from slide presentations to activities. In other words, science activities, lab activities, vocabulary activities, mind maps. This whole section is about lesson preparation. For student engagement, we have some other really cool tools. My favorite here is flashcards. I even put a yellow star on it because it's my favorite in the world. We also have ideas for riddle activities and gamified activities. We have a tool called Make It Relevant or Turn It Relevant. And this tool is really good. For example, when we have students who talk about Taylor Swift all the time, but I need to teach a geography class, how am I supposed to teach geography to students who only want to talk about Taylor Swift? Guys, use this tool and you'll see how it helps us guide a geography lesson on topics like soil, for example, but connected to Taylor Swift. I could talk about all 60 tools here because I'm passionate about each one of them. Here we have the tool for tests, exams, assessments. And this same tool is already for a slightly more advanced level of artificial intelligence. Today we're talking about the basics, but when we move to something a bit more advanced, it's this tool here, which is specifically for creating assessment activities with artificial intelligence. And right below it, we have automatic grading, which is a step further, which is grading tests, grading essays with artificial intelligence. But today, let's start with the basics, right? We also have the feedback and support tool. In other words, all those reports we need to make, whether weekly, monthly, or at the end of each semester. We also have activity sheets, and these activity sheets are really great, especially for teachers of the early grades, but also crossword puzzles. Who doesn't like those? This kind of activity, right? Even to revisit a topic or concept, I can easily use crossword puzzles with any age group. Event sequencing tool, for example, events from the World War, math worksheets, intermediate math worksheets, spelling activities, coloring pages you can choose, and the AI can draw a page for you. Completely different. In other words, there are a lot of options. There are plenty of options here for teachers of all subjects. So we have accessibility, and this is one of my favorite topics. Why? Many times we have to create a lot of tests and activities. And we have 1, 2, or even 3 students per classroom who have learning difficulties. For that, AI is our best friend, folks. It's our best friend. Because many times it's difficult to make an accessibility task feasible for all students. But with the support of AI, it's possible. For example, you can create adapted tests, you can come up with activity ideas, adapted activities, or even an entirely adapted educational plan. And all of this in seconds. Something that, if we were to do it by hand on paper, would take hours, folks, hours. Why is it so fast? Because AI is trained for teachers. It is trained to understand the challenges of teachers, of students, and to work with that in a way that is simple for the teacher. Right below, we have teaching with AI, where we have the review tutor tool. This would be a more intermediate tool. Here we can take a look today if you want. Just leave a comment if you want to see this tool. We also have specific tools for financial education, and we have the chatbot. Let's say you didn't find any specific tool you need. So let's say there's a tool, there's something you need to do, and you couldn't find it. No way at all. My God, TT has more than 60 tools, but I couldn't find a tool to write poetry. Now what? That's why we have a chat with Lara. And this here is Lara, everyone. This is Lara. It's a pleasure to meet you all. She's our little macaw. And this macaw helps us by answering questions, really. So let's say I need to write a poem, but I couldn't find the poetry tool among the 60 tools. Or I really need something that I couldn't find. You can use the chat with Lara, where you'll be able to clear up all your doubts. And she can help you with anything else you haven't found in a specific tool. For example, I'm going to ask her to create a poem. A poem about Latin American countries. In other words, anything you haven't found, you can put it here and she'll help you. Guys, amazing, right? So going back to the home page, today we're going to start by creating a magical lesson, okay? So if you're following along with me here, you can click on more than 60 tools and look for the magical lesson tool. For me, it already showed up right here at the top. You can also type in magical lesson and click on it. By clicking on it, let's fill out each of the tools. Do you remember when I said that with generic AIs, we have to write a long text to get what we need? Guys, here it's really easy. You just have to select me. So the subject of my lesson today will be English language, and I'm going to choose a grammar topic. And here, folks, I can choose a topic that's already listed here, okay? But I can also create a new topic. So if I want a completely different topic, for example, I don't necessarily need to click on one of these options if I don't put it in custom. I also choose my students as well. And if I want, I can add skills, as I mentioned, specific skills from my school, my country, or my municipality. Everything is here, folks. The duration of the class, 30 minutes, 50 minutes. And the type of methodology. When we talk about the type of methodology, here we have some of the most well-known ones. First, there's the reading-based method, which is the most famous, the traditional one, where the teacher presents the content to the students and the students have to take notes. We have the second one, which is active learning, where the students are active and are actively engaged in practical activities and projects. We also have social emotional learning. So this socio-emotional learning, which combines all the academic content with other emotional skills. We also have practical teaching, which is basically applying the content to real life cases, real market cases, real life cases, real situations that they will use in their daily lives. And there's also an institutional model, which will connect with the student's reality and other activities and digital means and technology. Today, I'm going to use active learning. And guys, this is totally optional, okay? But you can add some context, for example. I want a class with the daily application of the topic that relates to this. I want a class where I have to use colored markers to draw. I need a class that has at least 2 applicable projects. At this point, you will add any extra things you need, okay? And here, by clicking this big yellow button, you will get your result. And the teacher, remember that I showed you that we earn credits every day? Well, each tool has a cost in these credits. So this tool here costs 150. Most of the tools range between 100 and 200 credits, okay? It doesn't go over 200 credits. So as I mentioned, if you want to do a lot of activities, come here, log in every day and claim your credits, okay? So by clicking the yellow button in just a few seconds, my lesson will be ready. So while my lesson is being created here by Teet, type in the chat. If you have any questions, I'm going to drink a bottle of water now. But if you have any kind of question, put it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer you, okay? And guys, it's really simple, right? It's very easy. I love this tool precisely because of that. Because it's fast, it's easy, and it always, always, always meets my needs. It always meets my needs. Besides that, you can use it on your phone, on your computer, on your iPad, wherever you want. So here, teacher, we have our tool that has already created everything for us. Guys, you don't even have time to grab a coffee. It's really fast, seriously. So here, for Office, we have the class opening. It already sets the time, 5 minutes, the objective we need to accomplish, and also a question to engage the students. Right after, we already have an activity, so that's 20 minutes. And the tool, besides creating the entire description, details, what to do, what not to do, what to say, what to ask, also gives us ready-made activities. Guys, look, the activity is ready. I wrote to my class what I needed, and here I have the activity ready. Then, in 15 minutes, there's a part connecting to the theory. And Titi gave me a mind map. Guys, look at this. Titi gave me a ready-made mind map. All set. We also have a summary, which is basically a chapter of a book, right? Summing up everything the teacher should say, everything the teacher said. You can also give this big summary to your students and ask them to highlight the main points. I think that's really cool. And here there's some context. Oh, that's great. There are contextualized examples of using the verb to be. So we're doing this activity in English, right? Look at this. There are two contextualized examples. That's really cool because it connects with the student's reality, right, guys? Then we have 10 minutes of activities, games, to see if people really understood, if our students really got it. And the first one is a flashcard. And guys, I'm particularly passionate about flashcards. Why? With flashcards, we can summarize content, we can review content. They can be used at the beginning of the semester when you want to check your students' memory from last semester, in the middle of the semester, or even as an assessment activity.